Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, text number 42. Please repeat. Yahi Uparata Dihi Tasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Upalabdhan Prak Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Yahuparatadistasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Upalabdhan Prag Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Yaya Paratadistasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Upalabdhan Prag Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Yayuparatadistasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Upalabdhan Prag Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Yayaparatadistasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Upalabdhan Prag Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Prag Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Yayaparatadistasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Upalabdhan Prag Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Yayaparatadistasmin Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha. Matajis. Yahuparatadistasmin Purushan Puraha Distasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Palabdam Prag Vavande Shirasa Dvijaha Yayuparata Distasmin Adrakshit Purushan Puraha Upalabhya Palabdam Prag Vande Shirasa Dvijaha Yahi when Uparatadihi his mind and intelligence were fixed. Tasmin at that time Adrakshit had seen Purushan the persons, the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, Puraha before him, Upalabhya getting, Upalabdhan who were gotten, Prak previously, Vavande offered obeisances, Shirasa by the head, Dvijaha the Brahmana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When his intelligence and mind were fixed upon the form of the Lord, the Brahmana, Ajamil, once again saw before him 4 celestial persons. He could understand that they were those he had seen previously, and thus he offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Purport. The Vishnu Dutas who had rescued Ajamil came before him again when his mind was firmly fixed upon the form of the Lord. The Vishnu Dutas had gone away for some time to give Ajamil a chance to become firmly fixed in meditation upon the Lord. Now that his devotion had matured, they returned to take him, understanding that the same Vishnu Dutas had returned. Ajamil offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Hare Krishna. Is there a clock visible or a watch that I could refer to? I can't see from here a clock. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. It's quite rare these days that somebody wears a watch. Almost everything is on the mobile phone nowadays. So this subject matter discussed over many chapters, and Srila Prabhupada spoke on this topic quite considerably. There's even a book, it's even available here in the bookstore, called Second Chance, which focuses on this subject of Srila Prabhupada, some of Prabhupada's lectures on this topic. I haven't gone through it, at least not of late. And we'll try to speak a few words, and really depending on your mercy, because yesterday Bhakti Vikash Maharaj spoke, and I'm sure many other devotees have been speaking on a very similar subject matter for probably several weeks. There's no harm in repeating something over and over again. Srila Prabhupada did on these topics, so that we get, let's say, a clear foundation, clear understanding of what are we to learn, what are we to apply, how is this relevant to us. Srimad Bhagavatam is essential truth, relevantly spoken in relevant. And the acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, all of our acharyas, they don't just speak these topics, but they make them relevant to us. Thank you. Just like we finished yesterday's class, Bhanubhata Prabhu asked the question, which I guess we can take off from there, continue. Where Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, with a short time, just entered into the question we all have to face and ask in our own hearts. When will we become mature? The word is mentioned here when Ajamil's devotion was mature, when his mind was fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. The acharyas make that, you could say, very mercifully accessible in so many ways. For instance, Srila Prabhupada made it accessible by giving us so many varieties of service. The topic came up yesterday about chanting Hare Krishna is enough. And if you could say that if our chanting is pure, constant chanting, but usually that's not the case. Even here in Kartik in 1972, at the Radha Damodar temple, Srila Prabhupada was giving classes regularly on nectar of devotion. And Gurudas Prabhu asked the question, Srila Prabhupada, is there some special vrata, some special austerity that we should perform in Kartik month? And Prabhupada said, yes, there is. So then he explained what that was. And he said you should give up all eating and all sleeping and chant non-stop 24 hours a day the Mahamantra. And Gurudas Prabhu picked up his beads and started chanting very enthusiastically. And Prabhupada said, that is another madness. You cannot do that. Cannot do it. Another time, we were informed anyway, one devotee was sick, physically sick. We're all sick, different ways. And he wasn't able to do his regulated service. Prabhupada asked him in early days in Mayapur, "What are you doing?" He said, I can't do anything, Prabhupada. All I can do is chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said, that's real service. But because you can't do it all the time, so I have to think of so many different ways to keep us engaged. Different devotional service. Preaching Krishna consciousness, assisting the pure devotee in spreading Krishna consciousness means, it doesn't just mean speaking, going out and I remember one incident, no, I wasn't there, but we heard about it, when Trivikram Swami, and I think Bhanavata, maybe you were involved, I don't know, but maybe before, but he was preaching in the Far East, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, places over there. And he wanted to go to the West to preach. So he came through Mayapur. Prabhupada was in Mayapur. See Prabhupada, hopefully get his blessings to go and preach, as we call it, in the West. Difficult preaching in Korea in those days is not easy, and places like that, language, culture, and so on. Association. So he came there, and Prabhupada heard that Trivikram had arrived, Trivikram Maharaj. Oh, very good. Bring him in. At that time, Prabhupada was looking for some devotees to help in Mayapur. He said, very good, you've come. And he said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, I want to go, your blessings, to go to the West to preach. And Prabhupada said, no, I want you to stay here in Mayapur and assist. But Prabhupada, I want to preach. And Prabhupada said, preaching means to follow my instruction. It's not some activity which is defined by maybe our conception of the word, but it means to assist the pure devotee according to their wish. Not that the pure devotee is, let's say, unaware of the capacity or the situation of the individual's eligibility, but it means to cooperate with the will of the pure devotee. This is how we become mature. As we heard yesterday, how an unripe mango becomes ripened. Someone gave a ripe mango to me this morning, which is really nice. I'll offer it to the deities. Don't know where it came from. We all have to become ripe. I was talking this morning, we had the good fortune of meeting Sankarshan Prabhu Maharaj on the way over, and we were just discussing also how the world today is in situation is always like that in the material world. It's just varieties of difficulties. There's difficulty at every step. And sometimes it comes to the surface, just like I was just in Paris last week during the terrorist attack. And maybe I was one of the terrorists. In one sense, could say that. Diverting people's attention away from the goal of life is real terrorism. And it comes to people's attention. The whole world's like shaken up. It can be taken in a positive way, an incentive to realize there's an urgency, just like a Jamio. He sure did when he saw those Yamadutas. He had a wake-up call. We sometimes need wake-up calls. It's going to come sooner or later. Krishna's, but also all the devotees, try to remind us, but sometimes we need a bit of a jerk. And we're jerks, so we need a jerk. And these things sometimes wake us up and we realize that, my God, danger's on our doorstep. Anywhere, anytime, death may come. Prabhupada one time indicated that we should chant Hare Krishna like that, as if this is my last breath. Imagine if this was your... We see Bhagavatam is basically evolved from this principle of Parikshit Maharaj, knowing he only has 7 days left in this world, so to speak, taking advantage, using his where the growth so devotees. That's the key. Prabhupada has given us that opportunity. He wants to create that opportunity. You just brought that up, how many, say, inhumane or unpleasant activities, terrible things going on. Well, every day, when we look at it, a few hundred people dying here and there, but every day this is going on. There are approximately 300,000 people who die a day on this planet in human bodies. What to speak of the millions and billions in other bodies without Krishna consciousness, whether they'll get a second chance or not. If they've come in contact with this Krishna consciousness movement some way, they'll get a second chance. Prabhupada has given that opportunity to us. When we look at our situation, I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm speaking for myself, but coming from far from a very elevated, you could say, background. One devotee asked Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita, we see Yeshantvantugatam papam janana punya karma, that unless one has acted piously in this life, previous lives, and one's sinful reactions are eradicated, one's freed from this duality and so on, one cannot actually engage in devotional service with proper determination. Yes, well, I have no piety. I'm a sinful person. And Prabhupada said, I've created your piety. That's the real piety, bhakti and mukha sukriti. It's not some material thing due to karma. Exactly. It can be helpful, but that's not the cause. The cause is the mercy of the pure devotee of the Lord. That's the cause of the change, or the opportunity to get the second chance. And, we have to take the chance. You have to take it. Prabhupada's given us everything. Everything's there, we just have to take it. His mercy is there in full force. Nothing's lacking. We just have to become, let's say, as Ajimil did after that wake-up call, quite serious about taking that mercy. He left where he was staying, Kanyakubja, and he went to Hardwar to try to perfect his life. It's interesting, even in our own life experience. Some of you may remind me, I can't remember who it was, whether it was Sudama, Subala, somebody, I can't remember, who fell away from devotional practice. As Ajimil also fell away, he was not necessarily engaged in pure devotional service as a child, but engaged in pure activity. And in previous life, we heard yesterday, he'd actually practiced devotional service. Never goes in vain. Neha pikramo nashosti pratyavayana vijite. We don't know. We can't see what's going on sometimes. But anyway, the situation of this devotee who fell away, when the time of death came, although they fell quite deeply into Maya, contracted a very unpleasant disease. In that condition, they started to think about Krishna again. It happens quite often. But they were immobilized. They were not able to move their limbs, literally. And just all of a sudden, just before the moment of death, they sat up on their bed and said, "Prabhupada, you're here," and fell dead, physically. No service, Prabhupada said, goes in vain. No sincere service. It may be this lifetime. Prabhupada said with Jayananda Prabhu, and this is not Jayananda, they've got Jayananda written here on the board. That's not me. Far from it. If we could follow in the dust of his footsteps, we would be a fortunate soul. And maybe a South American devotee wrote the name, I don't know. It's not my name. This is not the name given to me by the Das. If Das is written there, that's correct, but not the first name. And even the last name, Goswami, it's only a chance to become Goswami, you could say, to engage our senses for the pleasure of the Lord. When our senses are completely engaged, that's the full engagement. And Prabhupada's given us his chance. His chance, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. How many chances we're given. Prabhupada is so kind. He never gives up giving us chances. And Krishna has to go along with it. Even though I, speaking for myself, am a sinful, offensive personality, full of pratishta. We heard this discussion yesterday based on pratishta. How to get free of it. I mean, I can put on a bit of a good show externally sometimes. Not very good this morning, I'm afraid. But sometimes I can put on a bit of a good show, dancing around and making people laugh and so many things. But still, Prabhupada is so kind to give us this opportunity to become purified, full of pratishta. Even externally, sometimes it manifests clearly, full of, desire for puja, labha, and so many things. Envious of other living entities, kutinati. So many, become a little expert in hiding them sometimes. But everything's seen by Krishna. God knows how I'm still here. Somehow we're still here, and it's only by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We have to pray, as Sangashan Prabhu was saying, he's praying every day like this, for this mercy, that we can become ourselves pure in heart, to be assistants to Srila Prabhupada. The work is within our own heart. Physician, heal thyself. The greatest service is to help others, but we simultaneously have to also look at our own hearts. It's easy to find fault, or easier to find fault in others. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj emphasized these points very strongly. How, we should try not to pry into the frailties of others, but look within. Find out our own faults. Cleanse our own hearts. Not that we become mental or depressed or anything, but to know the process of cleaning out these obstacles on our path, so we can also mature. Maturity is not just some activity of quantity, and not a name, Goswami, or whatever it is. It may be helpful, may not be. But it's a reality for all of us, which we all have the opportunity. How will we get that? What is it what is required for that internal purification? So we can become that transparent media for the instructions of our Guru Parampara to be passed on without any, say, selfish motivation. Devotee become Anyabilasita shunyam jnana kamadhyanavitam anukulyena krishna anushilana. When can our devotional service become anukul? How can that be? Now, we can ask you for some suggestions. And we heard yesterday from Bhakti Vikash Maharaj that basic thing, very foundational problem, is our identification with this body, still attached to our condition as being me, and naturally attached to how others relate to me as I am, and so-called. It's one thing, realizing a little bit about our insignificance and our... When we look at it, we don't really have much, do we? I mean, if you have, even materially speaking, even if we accept the fact that this body is mine and this is mine, we don't have an awful lot to be proud about. There's decrepit old body, practically. Ugly. So many things. It's kind of embarrassing. But even if we do have something, you know, what is it? It's insignificant. Completely insignificant. Kingdom. What is that? Fame amongst the infamous. A few people, we heard hearing that yesterday too, about in history, who cares a damn about this person after 100 years or even less? They're glad you're gone. Glad you've gone. Long as, you know, not really, what is this body? What are our talents? What are our, whatever it is we think we may have to be proud of, is everything belongs to Krishna. Even, it's interesting, even the story, I mean, he's being the perfect example of a devotee who perfected that particular path of devotional service, Atmani Vedana. Prabhupada's given us a chance to do all kinds of devotional practices. But he was known as Atman. He gave everything to Krishna, surrendered everything. But even in his case, showing by example, Vindhyavali, his wife, chastised him. He said, "You are an agnostic fool. An agnostic fool. You're still in ignorance, although you've given everything to the Lord. You still haven't realized you don't have anything to give. You're still thinking you've given something. You don't have nothing. You never did. It was always His." The Prabhupada says she's more advanced. She's a soul. She's a surrendered soul, not one who's surrendered everything. She understood that everything that exists is His, including us. This understanding. We can be proud of that. And Prabhupada's teaching us how everything is Krishna's. What do we have to take credit for? Prabhupada said his only credit was that he's not changing anything, that he's repeating the words of his spiritual master and dedicating his life to fulfilling those instructions. We don't have anything. It's a tough one. How to get out of that? When Lord Brahma, Priyavata also, you could say they had something to be proud of. Lord Brahma, Priyavata, they had something you could materially say proud of. creator of the universe. We get proud when we, I don't know, just cook a samosa or something. Someone says it's good. Lord Brahma creates the universe. And he does sometimes show, even in that position, you can get carried away with pride. Isn't it? Brahma Vimohana Lila. He even got captivated by his daughter, Zach. It's dangerous every step. In this material world, there's danger at every step. You've got to be very careful. Is that pride? Pride is just this identification with this body, basically, based on this ignorance. I would say this is the most sinful thing. All other sins come from this basic misconception or misunderstanding. I am this body. That's the within this frame of this material creation, this is the primary sin. This is prior aversion to Krishna, but manifests in this world with identification with this material body. It's the barrier. And the whole process of culture, pretty spiritual life begins when we come from out of that platform and start acting, let's say, with at least an understanding, I'm not this body. And that includes the subtle body also. And it includes the, hamameti, not just I'm not this body, but this is not mine also. These two things, me and mine, are the two. It's like Ajamil was completely on this platform. He fell into this illusion. He wasn't in the illusion to begin with. But by bad association, he fell into that illusion. Because of previous good association, the results of that also bore fruit in time. So we're lucky, we're fortunate. We shouldn't waste the opportunity, however. But this is the basic underlying problem. So therefore, all these other things, envy of others and pride and you name it, manifest. What else can we do? Now, what did Lord Brahma, what did Priyavrata do in their situation? They had something to be proud of. And they're given the task, Priyavrata, to manage the universe, basically. Lord Brahma creates the universe. Indra gets overwhelmed, king of heaven. It's easy to get overwhelmed with pride. Pride, pauper is proud of his penny. Everyone's affected. What can we do? We heard yesterday, that was mentioned by Maharaj yesterday. Try to remember everything belongs to Krishna, that we're insignificant and so on. What else can we do? We can whistle. What else can we do? Turn off our mobile phones, okay. What else can we do? Nothing. Nothing at all? Is there anything we can do about it? Nothing? Take prasadam, I suppose. It's a good idea. Keep taking prasadam, we'll become purified. Yes, keep taking, honoring. Keep chanting, keep honoring prasadam, it's good. Maybe a little bit more is required sometimes to go deeper. It's easy on the surface, cut down the grass is easy, no problems. Even that's difficult, but it's not so difficult. But getting down to the root, that's the problem, isn't it? Getting out that root. That maturity, that purity, that fixation on the lotus feet of Krishna means you're getting down to the root. Kinvadara manudinam, Rupa Goswami says, our chanting has to become very, very careful and constant. Not just constant and not just careful, but both. They kind of go hand in hand. But how to become? How to see Krishna in the page of the Bhagavatam? Sutta Goswami says, hear this with rapt attention. If you hear it with rapt attention, then you'll see Krishna on the pages of Bhagavatam. But how to hear it with rapt means completely focused attention. How to come to that? As long as there is this sinful reactions in our hearts and in the form of material desires, etc., and we're attached to them, we can't do that very well, if at all. The nice verses there. I think it's the third canto, Lokapila. Lord Shiva becomes all the more auspicious by taking the water of the Ganges upon his head. Shiva is auspicious, but he becomes more auspicious by taking... Why? Because that water has touched the lotus feet of the Lord and purifies everything. Just like, and it said, it acts just like a thunderbolt, just like Indra's thunderbolt, smashes mountains to pieces. Prabhupada says that this meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord smashes to pieces the mountain of sin in our heart. And that meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord manifests in the form, many forms, many ways. Prabhupada has revealed, or let's say, given us the opportunity to focus ourselves on the lotus feet in many ways. Literally also. Daily worship we heard yesterday. So many ways, especially the instructions of the spiritual master, the words of the spiritual master are mentioned there, discussing, I think, in the passages regarding Dhruva Maharaj, how those words of the pure devotees of the Lord, they are actually, you can say they're, the word is coated with the saffron dust of the lotus feet of the Lord, even if they're not presented in perfect, you say, language or whatever, structure, etc., etc. They're completely pure because they've come from the lotus feet of Krishna. And if we meditate on those instructions, how to apply those instructions, etc., this is also meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. The pure devotees are the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. You can take that dust by favorable association, which means to hear from them. Well, Prabhupada goes on to explain that requires to hear with rapt attention. We have to follow a regime. We have to become pure in our activity, eating, sleeping, etc., etc. That's how, at least Prabhupada said, we have to do that as well. The foundation has to be there, basic foundation. But back to the point, how did Brahma or Priyavrata approach the challenge of the risk of pride entering into their life in the course of their duty? Very simple thing, yes. You have your hand up? Somebody had their hand up? No. Simple thing, so simple, we sometimes forget it. They took shelter of Krishna and prayed. Prayer. We can't control these things. It's like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, it is impossible for the jiva to single-handedly overcome the illusion of inattention. It's impossible, he said. It is only possible by the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, one should fervently pray for the Lord's mercy. There is no other way of success. By the mercy of Krishna, we have to aspire for it. That mercy comes through the pure devotees of the Lord, by serving there, dedicating our lives. As Prabhupada, just imagine how Prabhupada he didn't have to come to the Western world 50 years ago. He had his instruction from his Guru Maharaj. It was predicted he would come, no doubt, but he didn't. In one sense he didn't. He was living here in Vrindavan. Some of us come here to stay here in Vrindavan. It's nice. But Prabhupada's mood was that we want to take that mercy, give everyone in the world a chance to receive that dust of Vrindavan, to receive that chance. We come here to become inspired and empowered so we can go wherever Krishna allows, wherever we're able to, and give that chance to others by passing on this message, Krishna consciousness, to others. Whatever way we can. We may not be so, advanced, but whatever way we can. Prasadam, chanting, whatever. We come here to get inspired to do that. Not just to come here, it's not a holiday. This is not a holiday home. Vrindavan is especially for, and when we say austerity, we don't mean standing on your head under the water or fasting 24 hours every day, or drinking cow urine tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. What is it, tomorrow? Whatever it is. You can do that. I guess you can if you really want to, as long as it increases. We're not here for that, actually. That austerity is to become let's say, faithful, to dedicate our lives to assisting the pure devotees in spreading this message of Krishna consciousness. And it's by that, by our dedication, we're endeavoring to pray and endeavoring to dedicate ourselves to their instructions, that we can become purified, humbled, humiliated. You have to tolerate. You have to show respect. Vrindavan is very special, if we allow. The mercy is there, we just have to take it. You can do so many things in the Western world, or whatever world we're coming from, but here there's the most valuable thing is available. The touchstone which Sanatana Goswami was keeping in the garbage for various reasons is the material touchstone. But he has the real touchstone. We have to take that mercy. Fall at Prabhupada's lotus. He's here in his samadhi, he's here. A lot of things, bought a lot of stuff. Nice boys and girls, whatever it is we do here. Had a nice pizza in the MVT, etc. You know, here's my photo album, Harry Ball on Facebook. Here I am, you know. We don't even know who we are or where we are. I love Vrindavan, my God. I wish I had slight appreciation of what to speak of love. We have to work, we're not mature. Mango is not very tasty. You've got to cook it. You've got to cook it. If you're going to use it, it's really cooked. So we come here to get cooked, you could say, a little bit. In the absorption in pure devotional service, that means, literally speaking, it really means, to fully engage, Rishikena Rishikesha Bhakti Sevuchi, to fully engage our senses, then Sarvupari Vinimuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam. Fully engage our senses according to the direction of the pure devotee. And that doesn't mean we necessarily directly with the pure devotee, but the instructions coming down through them, through others from the pure devotees of the Lord. Fully try to absorb our day, 24 hours here in Vrindavan, in nicely hearing this Rupa Goswami's instructions. We should stay in the holy dham, under the shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord, and fully engage our senses in nicely hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, and so on, the personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada has given us this chance here in Vrindavan. Try not to waste it. To take full advantage, keep fully engaged in devotional service, and become empowered and purified. So wherever we go in this world, we can also, let's say, be an instrument for that mercy to be distributed to others. And depend upon Krishna. Whatever happens at the time of death is up to him. We can just try to prepare ourselves, that's all, in whatever way we can. Well, it's 9 o'clock, according to this clock, so any questions or comments? Punyatama Prabhu?
About the millions of jivas every day in different species that leave this world without achieving any level of Krishna consciousness. And that we have all taken millions of births in this material world. So we were amongst those jivas that never got that mercy. But after millions of lifetimes, in this moment, we're here in Vrindavan. All the personalities in this room, we've all taken millions of births. But in this moment, we've all achieved Vrindavan.
Is there not a microphone or anything? I can hear you well, but others may not be able to. Anyway, carry on, I'll summarize.
So is it fair to understand that just we've also taken so many births, but now that's in the past, and Srila Prabhupada, his global form of ISKCON, on a daily basis is preaching to 8,400,000 species through books, the holy name, prasadam, and holy water in every body of water on the planet. So eventually all this mercy they will achieve this same blessing that we've all achieved. Is that fair to conclude? Because in culmination, to bestow benediction upon all is the mission of the Hare Krishna movement of Srila Prabhupada's body. No jiva left behind. All is all. Will that eventually manifest?
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the same principle with Vasudeva Datta, of course, that by his sincere desire alone that all the jivas in the universe be delivered, Lord Chaitanya assured him that he didn't have to suffer on their account, that they would be delivered by his pure will. And Prabhupada writes in the case of the, he said, but then the universe will be again completely filled up again with jivas who are in a dormant state of consciousness, and no one will notice anything has happened. The pure devotee's will is very powerful. And Prabhupada also writes in the pastime of Shivananda Sen and his dog that if all my disciples become pure devotees and desire, that's another topic, but desire the same thing. He was talking about how the dog of Shivananda Sen went back to Godhead because of the good wishes of Shivananda Sen. He said, if my disciples also become like that, then by their good wishes alone, all living entities in the world will go back to Godhead, even without their knowledge. So yes, the desire of the pure devotee. And the fact is, everyone on this planet, to some degree or another, remote as it may be, has had some contact with Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. It may be very remote, it may take a while before it manifests, to say the least. But some contact is there. The more Prabhupada describes how we should, like King Barhishat, how he was performing one yoga after another in desert places, etc., for the welfare of the people. And Prabhupada describes, of course also from material Karma Kanda, describes we should also perform one Sankirtan yoga after another all over the planet. So that everybody is captured in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan network. If we take it too lightly, then there's not really, we're going to, we want to get in the fire of Sankirtan, so we shouldn't take it too easily. That, everyone's already delivered their, okay, we've got to do the work too. We want to get into it. That's where the real, let's say, essence of devotional service is, dedicating oneself to trying to give Krishna consciousness to others. And that's really what it's about. Otherwise we may get a little lazy. Never mind. Everyone's already delivered or something. It's true. But it may take a long time. Prabhupada wanted it to happen now. It can happen in this lifetime. We have to start at home. Charity begins at home. We have to work on our own hearts, to purify our own hearts. Become sincere and serious in our endeavors to become Krishna conscious. We haven't got much time. We don't know how much time it is. There's a great incentive also to realize that so many living entities are leaving every day for various reasons on this planet. And we're going to leave one day too. We don't have to come back again into this world. Anyway, we might. Everything depends on the Lord's mercy. If He wants to deliver everyone He can, we won't even see what's going on. I mean, when Prabhupada was in San Francisco, 1974, I think it was, he was giving a lecture at the Rath Yatra in San Francisco, and he said, after the lecture, thousands of young hippies were in the park, in Golden Gate Park, and Prabhupada said that all you young boys and girls here today who've seen Lord Jagannath on the Rath Yatra cart are going back to Godhead in your next lifetime. And most of them were intoxicated. They probably didn't even hear what Prabhupada said, or to speak of understand it. Or know, what is this Jagannath on the Rath Yatra cart? What is it? God knows what they were seeing. But that's the mercy of the pure devotee. What can we say? I don't, we can only but repeat a few things. I don't have any mercy. any realization. The Prabhupada has come to the Western world. He's sacrificed, you could say, in one sense, sacrificed everything just for us, to give us a chance. Again and again, Prabhupada said that we're giving people a chance by opening up branches all over the world. Initiation, Prabhupada said, is giving people a chance so they may become pure. It means the beginning. Initiation is not the end. It's the beginning. Prabhupada said initiation means giving people a chance to become pure. Giving everyone a chance to connect with Krishna somehow or another. And not just to be freed from sinful reactions, but to actually become Krishna conscious. Well, let us meditate on the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and this year and next year, particularly the 50th anniversaries, and how much he sacrificed for us, how much he had to go through for us, how many times he kept giving us a chance despite our misbehavior, and still is, never stopping, ever forgiving. We just have to take it, that's all. Even if we made a mistake, just come back again. Take shelter. But be honest. Don't be duplicitous. I'm sure there are many other things, the time doesn't allow, but many other things on that topic and the other topic which we were discussing about how to remove these subtle coverings, how to clear them out in the fire of pure devotional service. Kechit kevalya bhakta vasudeva prayana gamdan vansi kachnena niharami babaskara. This pure devotional service removes all the uggas, the sinful coverings in the heart, just as the sun dissipates the fog. Pure devotional, kechit kevalya bhaktya means pure devotional service, full-on devotion. We have to get in the fire, Prabhupada said. Don't try to cook from 200 miles away. Put the pot on the fire. It's not too bad. It's better than getting in the pot of hell, the fire pot in hell. You can read about being burned. Better get into the fire of Sankirtan, fire of devotional service. Hare Krishna will burn away all of these coverings. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Jai, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.